You know what annoys me, Andrew? Every
What's up,
time
my
you
friend?
do a show, you get online and bitch out your wonderful CSA, who I can't speak highly enough of. The
Well,
CSA stand for cunt struggling, eh?
hey,
Hey,
big shout
sorry,
out.
language warning.
Great way to start the show. Missed everyone last week. And I probably missed out everyone last week because I was helping you chase up people from New South Wales and Canberra.
You know, people in Melbourne, Victoria, yeah, thanks, Kieran. People in Victoria talk about our combat sports board, but, and I'm not saying this just in case they're listening, they legitimately try to get stuff done for us. Like they were messaging me during the day going, hey, don't worry, we're chasing it up. We'll make sure it gets over the line. You know, we always get this stuff done. And then I feel like New South Wales, some of the people have been put there to sabotage the industry or something.
I mean, man, I've been like behind the scenes to chat to them about how it all works. And I try to empathize because they're completely out of their depth, man. Like they are so snowed under and understaffed that they just can't handle it to the point where they've obviously turned off the phone. They don't take phone calls anymore. You got to email. But to their defense, sometimes too, man, like we've got fighters, and I know it's a typo, and they spell their name wrong. They get the fucking email wrong. They go to the doctor and they trust the doctor to fill out the form and put their details in there correctly. So the fighters don't even check it. Then they go get their ID certified, go in there and they think they got everything done, upload it, and then they just wipe their hands of it. And I've had a few of them which did a great job. This card's big. Like I've got 50 to 60 fights and a lot of newbies who have done the right thing and did it in advance. But because they're so swamped under that they don't get to your card, they just flat out said they won't deal with your card until the week of. So in the instance of a few of these guys who might get cut today, they are getting cut because they got notified on the week of. And these are young guys who work, who can't just fucking drop everything, drop the tools and go and get a blood test. They got to book in to go see the doctor. It takes a couple of days. And then now my show is like, I've wasted 3 days. So put that into monetary terms, it's not worth it, man. Like I'm fucking over it.
And you're 100% right in, I can't believe I said that. Some of the stuff is the fighters not filling out forms. Like we still had guys sending in their blood test results. There's a Melbourne guy that I love the guy. He's a decent fighter, but I won't put him on shows anymore because 3 weigh-in nights in a row, the night before the weigh-in, he's taken his photo and taken a photo of his blood test results like this and like send it going, hey brother, is this right? And it's like, no, it's not right. You know this. So there is that level of donkeys, but like for the Muay Thai Victoria thing, we have to do our regos. We maintain all the registrations, right? Spring did 20, what is it? We had 20 fights of 40 regos on our own remotely on a spreadsheet. They all had to supply all the same stuff. She communicated back and forth with them. She got it done. And she, you know, I'd say probably 8 or 9 hours.
But she would have, like, no offense, but she may have known a couple of people and changed a letter here or there. They cannot touch it. And I mean, I'm not sticking up for that shit.
She wouldn't touch any of the forms. She'd communicate back. But I'm saying, you either have to have a system or relationships. So you either have to have a system that's so good at a government level that people can upload their forms and manage it. And you basically have one admin person that the CSA would have one admin person. And I think that even with here, I think they make it too hard. Have a login where I upload my paperwork and the admin person just has to, as it comes, tick it off. And on the system, it has to fulfill it. And then give Victoria and ACT and WA and stuff just a login that shows a green light or a red light. Like
we've got that. they reckon it takes them anywhere from 15 minutes to half an hour per registration. So last weekend, there was some boxing events and a whole lot of stuff. So 100 regos. They literally go in with a fine tooth comb, ID. Like, for instance, one of these guys has got 2 last names, right? So whatever it was, like Andrew, Ron, Jeremy. So the Ron Jeremy part is in capitals, but he accidentally put the Ron in the middle name and Jeremy as his surname.
Yeah.
And they don't have the ability to change the system now because it's in Service New South Wales. So that's a big deal. Like, Service New South Wales is the shit that handles your bags and all that shit. They can't touch it. They've got to raise a case with Service New South Wales. So, but I don't know, man. We spoke about it yesterday, the couple of promoters, around taking $100 deposit per fighter. And if they're not cleared before the week of, I get to keep it. The promoter gets to keep it because we can't promote. Like, there's only so many hours a day. And if we can't promote because we're looking after minute shit, like, I've paid an assistant to do that stuff before and we still couldn't do it. So there's just I've tried all the shortcuts. I'm open to it, but I think unless people get financially punished now, like, I want my hour back for chasing up those cunts last week who were late for your show.
Well, like the May show, we had all the registers done a week out. And that was, I actually contracted everyone that they had to get it done or they got penalized, and everyone did it. This show, there was a couple of guys who had blood test stuff not in on Wednesday. Like, oh, I didn't realize. And they had to get that. Was like on rebellion. And then I had other guys, and I'm like, that's, we'll talk about the shows. But the thing that came up after this last show for me was like, after 10 years, you can't be focusing on the sort of growth and the, head in the cloud stuff when you're dealing with really minute, weird shit. Like, people people emailing on the day, hey, can I change my, my ticket to a live stream ticket instead? I'm like,
no.
But the onus does have to go back on the trainers and the fighters too. I don't see it.
The trainers, but I try with the trainers, and the trainers are trying, but these kids, man, there's fucking professionals. And
man, what I started
you got to do it once every 6 months.
Kieran, Kieran, you were the last clearance we got last week, so I don't know.
No, hang on.
Mighty glass house.
No, everything was done. Don't use the date. Everything was done though.
Just because Andrew H off his fighter's name doesn't mean
just because you couldn't get the clearance through from the ACT is no reflection on us having the documents sorted. So just let me say my piece, all right? One thing that I've started to do, and it's not perfect, but at the end of every training session, the fighters line up and I'm like, and in front of the other fighters, they have to say where they're up to with their registration process. And so if they're like, oh, nothing, it's embarrassing to them in front of everyone else. And hopefully that's a kick up the ass. It's not perfect, but I think if every gym did that, it would at least be a little bit towards making, I'm only trying to make your life easier, Si. I'm only trying to
I agree with you. With anyone that's ever fought for our gym in the past or any of my amateur boxers, no one ever fucks this stuff up because there's just, you put your bag in the wrong spot, you hear about it for 6 months and you get it thrown in the middle of the road. You just have to create that culture.
The pettiest man in combat.
There's very little you can do at this gym that is right. And if you fuck things up, I've like pulled fighters out of shows and then everything like, oh, you didn't show up to training a week out. All right, well, after this,
like
get out of the gym.
You're like the girlfriend that gets mad at the boyfriend because in her dream they cheated on her.
I get mad at everything.
Yeah, I know. I'm just.
I had a potential new member show up right at midday before. Andrew's face is frozen.
Oh yeah, he's just sent us a little thing. His computer's crashed and the little blurred out. There you go for everyone at home.
Oh my goodness, such a great
photo. That happened to Chris. Remember that happened to Chris on the last. Is this part of your? It's happened to Chris.
Look at his face though. Look at his
Andrew.
For the people listening to the audio version.
Yeah. For everyone that's listening to the audio version, Andrew's frozen and he's disappeared. Do we move on to Roots and Rebellion without him, or do we have another?
No, I want him to come back. I got a lot of.
All right.
We're nearing Festivus. The real airing of grievances.
The airing of grievances.
It's that time of the year. Is
Nearing
he trying to log
Festivus.
on with something else? One sec. Oh, this guy. Hey, you. Well, actually, is this his PC? How's your Mac going there, Kieran?
My Mac's going quite excellent. I believe the quality of the camera is nice right now. The processing speed is beautiful, and it's a MacBook Air as well. It's not a Pro.
We're running the
just
same
an Air.
thing. We're running the same thing.
It's doing its job. My iPhone doesn't really like to give out at all either. So
I'm using my hotspot. Is it what's it called? Hotspot. Yeah, hotspotting my. What's a good kind of internet connection? Because my NBN here is driving me insane.
yeah, it's terrible, man.
What else can you get though? I got told there's a thing called microwave. They put a dish above your place. Legitimately. This isn't. I'm not trying to trigger people.
Someone, no, I know what you're talking about. Sometimes they have them as like extenders or repeaters as well. They'll put like dishes on your roof to boost your signal as well. They'll do that sometimes.
I need better internet.
We have VDSL. I've got VDSL here, which was in before the NBN and is faster than NBN.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, because we've got I don't know how to say it, Sonos, the speakers that run off Wi-Fi.
Yes, yeah.
And then like all of a sudden middle of a class. And I like to say a lot of shit under my breath that usually gets drowned out by the music. I keep the real, and all of a sudden it's just like no music.
I've got my speakers hardwired through the roof. No, the cable. I've thought about doing it wireless, but it's a pain. I have like I got a wireless receiver, but.
So how'd you enjoy your time in Melbourne, Kieran?
And it was wonderful to be back in Melbourne. I don't know what's happening on the east coast of Australia though, because the weather is terrible. La Nina, we know what it is. The weather pattern La Nina for all you budding meteorologists out there. Man, I loved being back in Victoria. I love being back at Roots and Rebellion. I like the Melbourne Pavilion as a new venue. I mean, I like the others. I was a big fan. What was the
Like Timber Yard. Everyone liked Timber Yard.
Man, Timber Yard was awesome. That was yeah. I love Timber Yard. I like the St Kilda Town Hall. They've each got their own little vibe, and I because I'd known that Pavilion had done a whole lot of other combat sports promotions. I was a bit worried that it wasn't going to be that we wouldn't have that same Rebellion Roots kind of feel. I was a bit worried that it would just be like another combat sports venue, but man, I loved it. I thought it worked really well.
Yeah, it's funny. Like obviously Red Scooter was super unique.
Yeah.
I think St Kilda, like Malvern was the next stage for us. And then I think Birthday Palm Tree, what a name. I think Malvern was like the next level growth for the show. Oh,
Yeah.
geez, Louise.
Birthday Palm Tree. Who's fucking dead? What are you on, man?
There we go. But then I
Hello.
think with the screen view was great. But I think St Kilda was was the next stage for Rebellion.
Oh my
kind of
God.
group.
Yeah.
Timber Yard was great as far as like the vibe, but getting set up and stuff in there was a nightmare. It's just literally a giant empty shell.
Yeah.
And Tom, especially, we both had this concern. It's like, well, every show's in Melbourne's pretty much going to the Pavilion. Oh, we're going to lose a bit of identity, man. But I feel like the combination of like the branding stuff, the music, the fighters, the audience, like it didn't have the same feel as other shows you go there. I think we still managed to get our own vibe.
And it was cool in Roots looking up and seeing Riker and all his mates up with the little skybox watching the fights. Excuse me, I spat over it. That was cool, man. That was cool seeing all these little kids like looking down, loving it.
I know it was like having my daughter was like, she plays it pretty cool around me the rest of the time. She's not like, if I'm gone, she really misses me. But if we're around a lot, but she was being so like daddy's little girl on the night, but then poor thing wanted attention as we couldn't get the live stream going. So I was like cuddling her and then like calling nasty people back and yelling at them. So
at one point though, I looked up and I could see all the kids and I could see them all watching, and then a curtain, and they obviously had some form of light. And then just in the darkness was this like dark track-suited Andrew Parnham just peering, gazing over like the biggest creep, just standing on this section, just watching over that was my highlight of it. But welcome back, Andrew. We waited for you before we got into Roots and Rebellion.
Oh fuck! My computer's just fucking died.
What's birthday palm tree? Whose device are you on?
Oh shit! I'm on my daughter's. So I just had the blue screen of death on my working laptop. Just got a final response from Combat Sports Authority. One of the guys who spelled his name wrong has been included. One of the boys who submitted wrong information has been included.
Nice.
And 3 other boys who just completely fucked up their medicals are now not to be included in my card. Each of those boys have sold over 20 tickets per person. So thank you to those fucking people who couldn't get it right. Assholes. Anyway.
Were 2 of those 3 fighting each other or no?
Who were? The other 2 who got cleared, thankfully, were my guys. But the other 2 guys who didn't get cleared were fighting 2 guys from the same gym. So that whole gym now doesn't have a fucking match.
At development day or on the amateur pro card?
Their development days, which is fine, but still, man, like these kids.
It's you know what? It's actually not fine. And this is what kills me when people go, "Oh, I'll get it done by Thursday." It's like, man, if you don't get it done, I've had this happen before where there's been an anomaly in a blood test. I've had it when the doctor that has to sign it off can't come in. Like, just don't leave it to the last second. It's not fair on you, your trainer, and the other gym. It's like, man, now you got to go to those guys. Sorry, there's no fight. Are they injured? No. Any of this? No.
Not fair, man. Anyway, fuck them. Sorry, but if you did that, you're a shit cunt. I'm out.
All right, let's
go to Rebellion.
You guys watched much of Roots. What did you think?
I
didn't get a chance.
Watched the big boys at the start.
Yep.
Matty Williams' boy kicks really well for a boy that size. I was quietly surprised. I watched that one. I watched Here and There. I heard the big knockout. I think it was probably like the only knockout of the whole day aside from Tim, maybe. I think there was only 2 knockouts on the whole day. Watched Andy's girl.
Don's left kicker. He was good, man. Keep your hands up, champ. He loves it.
And that was all I saw of the day.
So man, like, I know we always say this, but 15 fights on Roots, and a lot of those guys were having their first or second fights. I thought skill level was very good. Tavita, who fought at a strong heart, who fought Gun from AXA, man, my heart broke for that guy. He took the fight on like a week and a half's notice. The middleweight, he fought at super middleweight, and he was more experienced, had more wins. I think it was 5 wins, 1 loss. But Gun just got that head kick up and ended it. But Tavita, like, absolute pleasure to deal with, and I'll definitely be bringing him back. The AXA boys had the worst luck. They had 3 guys on that show. Braden's opponent changed to Don's boy, Blake Schneider. Faraz had his opponent change. He was going to fight Don's other boy, and then he ended up fighting Christopher Broadley. And then Gunn, that was his 3rd opponent. So shout out to Phil Lai and the AXA guys for moving along with opponents and all the other gyms. Obviously, win for Jonathan Sexy Yamaha. Some of those fights I missed a little bit. I know Jonathan won, and then Shook fought Cece. That was, look, I think the height made a big difference, but I think Cece's really come along for someone who's, she's had 9 fights, but 6 of them have been like padded amateur fights. So,
thought I was told she had 5 or 6 fights, but that's okay.
No. So she's had 4 of her fights were at the Nationals. But anyway, read your messages. But I think she's only had 3 or 4 actual pro fights. So,
nice.
So that was good. And then, man, I know you guys have been talking it up, but I was really impressed by Nathan Jones.
Good day.
Yeah, like I know Indy's been out of the game, out of the fights for a couple of years, 2.5 years, maybe a bit longer, maybe 3 years. His last fight was Chris Newen on Warriors Way. But Nathan was really impressed. I had a couple of my boxers here. They came and sat ringside, and one of them was a heavyweight with 70 amateurs, and the other ones had, and they heard that first low kick of Nathan's land, and they were like, "Holy fuck!" I'm like, that kid's sharp. So
got a good temperament. He's exciting to watch.
He's a redhead, and he's got a good temperament. It's fucking hell.
He's good, man. He's in good hands with Rod. Rod's a great guy up there in Newcastle too.
Yeah.
So shout out to all the Nova guys. They're always tough as, and man, he's every fight he has been an absolute war, but he generally nudges them out, and big props to him.
If you've not seen it, he and Geordie Bargali on the last 1774 was a great crack for the WBC New South Wales state title. If anyone wants a good fight of Nathan's to watch, if you've never seen him before, with the exception, obviously, of him fighting Indigo, that fight on 7th, they both dropped each other. And, man, Nathan's a really cool dude. Rod's a cool dude, too. I woke up that morning. What was it? I think it was the fight morning. I woke up to go for a run, and I went past the bathroom that was near the gym out there. It was 6:30 a.m. or something, and I could hear One Championship. I could hear what I thought was Chevello, and I just thought, I was like, what the fuck? And I went to the bathroom, and I came out, and I came in, and I opened the door to the gym, and I went in, and there's Rod steaming away on the exercise bike, absolutely fanging it, watching One Championship at 6:30 in the morning. And I yelled out to him and gave him a shock and scared the pants off him. But good dude, man. They're both, the Nova guys are really good people. Yeah, I think Nova, they've been on the show 3 or 4 times ever, but obviously I've spoken to Rod a few times. He's just one of those guys, does anyone not get along with that guy? He's just such a top of the bloke. So,
Impossible.
Yeah. And hopefully we'll get Nathan out for another Roots or maybe Rebellion next year. So that'll be good.
Yes.
Just talking to him now because his boy didn't get on the card. Shout out to your boy that didn't get on there, Rod. Shocking.
And then, so for anyone who didn't understand what happened with the streaming, obviously we had a bit of a streaming issue. We're trying to resolve that.
Can you explain is there a reason for the cutouts, man?
Yeah. So we've been using Vimeo in conjunction with Kling for the last few shows. So people go, "Oh, Kling's just a paywall. There's no real issue with it." Vimeo is similar to YouTube or live stream. It's like a back end thing. When we did that lockdown show, instead of sending directly to Vimeo, it was going through a cloud the first 2 times, so it crashed twice. And then when we went back to the original setting, it had all been fine. Then, about a week and a half before this show, Vimeo came to me and said, "Hey, you've gone above your fair use of our unlimited live thing for your bandwidth usage, because that show had a lot of live streams. If you want to use us, you got to pay an extra $5,000 a show or something," which, if you know how much you make out of stuff. Anyway, so I ended up finding this other mob who are like, I think like the third biggest live streaming platform in the world. Excellent sales service and excellent like tech support beforehand. Like they kept calling and emailing, and I had Zoom meetings and everything set up. And unfortunately, all the credentials we had wouldn't authenticate. So we were up there from 12:15 to about 1:30 trying to get this logged on phone support, chat support. It's not working. And then it just got to the point where I said to Paris, I'm like, I want to enjoy this show. We're just going to go free on YouTube. And we logged onto YouTube, and I think it went on YouTube, the Root Show, without any hassles. And then I think, Andrew, you were saying, you know, there's this other mob we can try and stuff. And I just got to that point where I was like, I literally just wanted to watch the show at night.
Yeah.
And the number of messages and calls, and like 99% of people are so polite. And then you get a couple of people who write stuff on Instagram or send emails. And I'm like, making assumptions like, oh, you're not doing anything to fix it. It's like, what?
It's hard.
Someone should fix you. So yeah, we did that. And I think that I know the YouTube stream broke down once as well, at least once that I know of. And that was because the cable was inside the building and someone put a jacket over it, which anyway, that stuff should never happen again, will never happen again, but it was a live stream. Everyone, I instructed in player to refund, and I think they refunded everyone. So it was a pretty expensive issue. Like even at the daytime show, the amount of streams we'd sold, not even the nighttime, was quite significant. But I think just not having to deal with the stress for the rest of the day and actually getting to sit down and watch a show the whole night. Like I watched pretty much every round of every fight, which I've never done, was cool. Great.
Yeah.
And the pavilion, going from venues where like a lot of council-owned venues where the venue managers are nice enough people, but there's no commercial sensibility and they treat you like you're the scum of the universe, to the pavilion who are absolute legends, and they pretty much set up the entire venue. And I think the sound in there, like when Darren and Carter were fighting, and every time they clinched up, the echo coming back over the ring from especially that back area was unbelievable. So yeah, really happy with that. So it was good. And then, you know, the Rebellion card, I think there was no big name like Singh Payak or Toby or Samapet or anything like that on, but overall I was really happy with the card.
The venue was like it's all. That's why I asked them. I was like, "What's this venue for?" Like they said, "Oh, weddings and stuff." Who has a fucking wedding with a mezzanine overlooking a dance floor and a stage and a beer garden? That's mad. Like, what's it for? It's like it's designed for fights.
And so Brian, who's the owner of the venue, he is the promoter of Big Time Boxing here.
Yeah.
So they basically have boxing events there almost every week. Fight shows there weekly. They have their own ring in there, so that's their ring. Yeah. So we showed up. The chairs and tables are there, and the ring set up, and the lighting's already over the ring.
So it's like a stadium, basically, ready to go.
That's cool. Yeah. That's really cool.
And you wouldn't really want to go anywhere else, would you?
No, and unless I mean, there is an issue where everyone's shows are there, but we're Rebellion and Roots has its own look. That doesn't bother me. And the main venue manager, Amanda, is like a godsend. She's the best person ever. The guys who were duty managers there initially, I was like, ooh, they seem a bit, but they were like legends. And, you know, as it happens with Roots and Rebellion, they kind of see the vibe and go, hey, this is pretty cool. Yeah, we like this. Let that, and they were awesome. So really stoked with it. We got to use our own security, which we've had since Rebellion 6. So they've gone with me at every venue, and that helps. Jesse, the DJ that I've been using for the last 6 years, I thought he's always good, but I think he was exceptional this weekend. So it was really good.
It's a good show, man. It was a great
Got
show.
to talk about the elephant in the room, man.
Your face.
Yep.
Yep. So let's go fight by fight.
All right, that's a good way to do it. That's
Yeah,
good.
fight one. So it was Tim Newen, and I'm going to call Tim out here because unfortunately it's the second time he's missed a bit of weight. He missed weight on the lockdown show, which was kind of excusable because it was on a week's notice. Everyone was kind of training and not training. This one, he came in a bit heavy again, which credit to Paul and Lewis. They took the fight. He was 900 grams over. He lost a third of his fight purse. Not a third. Anyway, he lost his fight, a significant part of his fight purse that went to his opponent. And that won't ever happen again. I know that. We're going to hook him up with a dietitian because Tim's one of the guys that, he's had all of his fights on Roots and Rebellion. And I'm his promoter, and I want to move him along. He's going to get hard fights, but he can't miss weight again. Like, I think between me and his manager, Theo, I think if he misses weight again, something's going to happen to him. And especially, look, I think he's an actual finisher. That's I think his fourth knockout in 8 fights. But when you knock a guy out and you were a bit heavy, it's never good.
Yeah, it takes away from it, man.
Yeah,
it's no good. It's not. It's just not on. It's just not good. Like I don't know. I think that's. Yeah, it's not on, man. I know. I mean, you're not on in the sense that you can't stop him from knocking someone out, but it's not a good look when you're clearly the heavier dude and then you knock someone out. It's just not, man. I just don't like it.
The thing is, his frame, like, he's a solid boy, but
doesn't look like he tried to cut.
He's got the body fat to lose easy.
I think he has a little bit of they don't cut weight. He's saunas it. He tries to sweat it out. It's not like,
it's not Thailand.
Dieting.
He's in Thailand. Like,
yeah,
don't treat it like
the Thai thing of like, I'll just eat and train strong and then sweat it out. What's going on, Andrew?
Hello.
We've got Combat Sports phone call.
Yes. All right, good. Can I call you back, or can you please give me a number to call you back on? I'm just in the middle of a podcast, actually. Just got to get it back.
Oh.
9879 9606. Cool. Thank you.
Everyone's in a call.
Everyone's gonna call it. You shouldn't have said.
As the police. Good times. Anyway, keep going.
Anyway, so yeah, that won't be happening again. But yeah, so he'll be back on February 26th.
Beautiful uppercut, by the way. Not going to take
nice overhang and then uppercut.
That was beautiful. That was really nice.
His computers come back.
Nice.
I forget the order of things, but I think the second fight was
Deina
and Carter, which I thought was a great fight.
Pretty keen to see it again. Look, I was happy with the draw, to be honest, at the time, but I want to look it back over again and see from a judging perspective. Haven't had a chance with that one because I've had to watch the Ibby one so many times. But the man, Carter's good. Like, I don't know what he does between weigh-in and fight day, but he looked like he was struggling to make that 67 kgs and then came out a monster on the day. So
huge.
If he's eating or dripping or whatever it is, good on him. He was very big on that day. So maybe that drip thing should be a topic of discussion one day.
I thought Darren was going to be too smart for Carter. But then when I only saw the first 2 rounds because we had, like, Deina was going to be up soon. So I only watched the first 2 rounds. But I think on the first 2 rounds, it looked like Darren was struggling with his size and height. Hey.
Yeah, first 2 rounds we were aiming to do exactly what he did, which was cool. Like, because he looked like he was physically struggling at the weigh-in, and we wanted to lock him and just Darren's a physically strong dude and squeeze him out and get him tired. I didn't really care too much whether we won or lost those first rounds, as long as we weren't too far, like getting bashed to do that. And we done that by squeezing his neck out, getting into a really good position and breaking him down. I could see that Carter was getting really tired, but man, he did he's hard to get in on. Like, he's so big. we need a different game plan for next time. But to actually find the rhythm to get into that exchange, to get in there, Carter did a fantastic job of that. So, yeah, man, it was a fucking really tough fight.
He keeps his composure being tall really well too. A lot of tall guys, I think there's a difference between being tall and like keeping your composure and doing that. He does that really well. That was one thing I noticed in those first 2 rounds, in moments that I think a lot of other taller guys would have absolutely fucked up on.
They would have panicked
and come away under the pressure. Man, the way he keeps his composure as a tall fighter, although not as experienced, is very, it makes you think of guys. He's not at that point, but it makes you think of guys like the George Manns and the Hamza, and the way that they can stay so relaxed with the length. If he continues to build that way, man, he'll be an absolute menace in the future.
And he's very patient, and deep was a problem. We moved away too much rather than blocking and pushing in. So, and to be honest, I didn't think he'd be that tall. Hand on my heart, like I thought he was tall, but I didn't think he was
It's
going to be
funny,
that
like,
tall.
it's not like he was 14 before and now he's 22, but I was saying to you guys the other week, when he first had his first couple of fights, he looked like a stiff breeze was going to knock him over, right? And then he's gotten bigger, and then as he's fought, like his last couple of fights with Corey, he's really stepped up. And then in the start of May, him, Sam, Joe, River, Tim came to the gym to film a promo, and he walked in, and I was just like, it was like, it's not the same, but it was like when Toby, before he fought John Wayne Parr, they kept showing his videos of this little boy. And then when he fought Wayne Parr in the ring, was like, holy fuck, who's this dude? Like he came in and everything had like, kind of like a puppy that's just like filled out into a grown dog.
Yeah.
And he's man, like, you know, I spoke to Tali before this fight and I said, look, we're matching Carter at similar records and stuff. Obviously, Darren was a fair bit more experienced in a way. He's had a lot of fights overseas. It kind of balanced out, but I'm like, they're still around the same thing. I'm like, if he gets through this fight, it's like open slather. You got to fight.
Yeah.
You got to fight everyone.
He's ready to go now.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I do a rematch if they want it. I don't care.
That's going to happen. I think if you have a draw, it'll be good to do. But there was like, obviously there was exchange when there was like kick for kick. I think most of the time Darren was getting the last say.
Yeah.
It was like, and he was and then Carter was making up for in other ways. But as a overall score, like when the fight ended, I think pretty much all the other fights we kind of had in our head, yeah, this guy's one or that girl's one. That fight, I think everyone was like, ooh, could go either way. I mean, there was, I think, a 50-46 scorecard one way, but that, again, like you said, if you're depending where you're sitting in the ring and where you're watching it and what you can hear, all the rounds, there was no super dominant round, so you could just be edged one way. But overall, as a drawn fight, man, I don't think anyone, unless you know, I don't think anyone could go, that should have been 100% my win or 100% like, it was like, that was a good draw.
Yeah, I agree. I want to watch it back properly, but I know they weren't impressed at all with it. But
I think Tali, from speaking to her, and I think they were more. It's not the overall score; it was more the 50-46.
Yeah, well, the other one was the other way around. Like 49-45, wasn't it, or something? I don't know what it was.
It was one way, one the other way, and then one slap bang in the middle.
Bang in the middle. And, and there was the judges who were sitting next to the corners who judge it those ways. I think, I don't know, but anyway, good fight.
Good fight.
Next one was Deina and Samsom.
Good one.
I'll say that I probably credit the fight name I gave her as a big factor in her overcoming and beating Samsom.
Mm-hmm.
Good, man. Both cool chicks too. Won me a bit of money on that one because I was just betting down the blue side. So
you're welcome.
Ooh, no worries. Thanks, man.
You're welcome.
Yeah, really good job by Deina. Obviously, Sam being my friend and the local girl, it was it's always hard to see them lose because I know how hard she worked for it. But I think I think she'll come back and, have a couple of good fights next year, hopefully. But super stoked with Deina. And yeah, hopefully we can get her back down here. There's a couple of girls for her to fight, obviously. Joe and potentially, I don't know what weight Spring will be fighting at, but definitely if we can make the weight agreement on Joe and Deina, I think that'll be a sick fight.
Davina's young too, so it's good, like she's got a long time in front of her. Like she's in her early.
That's why she's in her car where in the back seats where there's a child lock.
she's got a lot of front, and man, she's dedicated. She's one of the hardest workers. Her and her sister are very similar. Like they just come in and they're so dedicated and they train hard and they never miss a session. And she just, she's got the world at her feet if she keeps, and that's all she wants to do too. She loves fighting and she loves it. And I think it was good for her, that like a lot of people wrote her off because not really as many people knew her, and everyone knew Som, and Som's obviously like a favorite in Melbourne, but she rose to the occasion. I was really happy with it. And there's still the beautiful thing is she's still developing as a fighter. There's still a lot of her that we didn't see in that fight of what I know she's capable of doing from training. I mean, she's on the end of beatings from her sister every day, from her sister, and then guys like Max and Davey and Josh. So man, there's a lot more of Deina to see, and I'm pretty excited. Some of those fights, like making the Joe fight happen, if we can agree on a weight and things like that, there's some really exciting fights for her.
And, with that, she won the Jordan Coe Award, which usually the way it happens is if I can't decide between the two fights, I'll usually message Benny White and Peter Sherwood and ask them what they think. And I had it between Deina and Hugh. And I think all three of us sort of agreed on Deina because it was like, A, she came in as an underdog, and B, technically she was really good. And, in the whole Jordan Coe thing, kind of an unknown that came in and made a name for herself. So I think she was a really worthy recipient. And obviously the Ladbrokes crew put in a bit of extra for that award, and they're gonna work on transferring it to the SCG. So good on Deina. The next fight was Mart versus Van.
Yes.
I didn't get to watch that one. Just saw bits of it because we were getting ready, but
I saw part of it.
I saw about 6 takedowns in one round. But
it looked like, and credit to Van for taking the fight, but Mart looked very comfortable. Like he didn't look worried. Like he was, apart from the obvious sweeps and taking some big, like giving Van some big shots and sort of just taking his lead leg out under him a couple times just to off balance him and mess with him a little bit. Like he looked quite comfortable. He looked strong too. He's a strong looking dude, man. When he would throw some of those kicks, or just physically, he looks very intimidating. And credit to Van for taking the fight. I didn't get to see it all, so I'm only going off of like the few exchanges that I saw, and that was that Mart looked quite comfortable in there.
Yeah, Van did good, man, and he landed a flush left head kick like he did.
Yeah, I saw that. That was sick.
Like Mart was just like,
okay.
And
he's
some good kick exchanges from what I saw as well. Again, it was only like in between, like first when they went out and then mishmash. Like
there was 2 or 3 body kicks that Mart landed like right above the hip that didn't get blocked, and there was people sitting on the tables that were like, one of my friends, Rami from here, was sitting at a ringside table. He goes, geez, the sound those kicks made when they landed. I'm like, yeah, when he did land his kicks flush, they were flush. So I don't know. He's potentially moving back to Thailand at some stage next year, unless, I think they're planning on trying to keep him here if he stays. There's a couple of other fights for him. If he can get lighter, maybe Ibi can have a crack with him. But yeah, like shout out to Vanda. His fight before this was Rocky, and then this fight, and good little
fights anyone, eh? Good dude fights anyone.
Yeah, and they're like really, really wanting to fight Chris Newen next, which will be even a kilo heavier. And I said to Tali, and then I'm like, the guy's had 2 super hard fights, maybe like a more level experience-wise fight for him would be in order. Like,
It's just hard, man. There's no one around at that weight.
Yeah.
Davey's got that problem now too.
yeah, well, I mean, they're pretty confident in fighting Chris, obviously. Chris and those guys are, so maybe that's a fight we can make. That was scheduled to happen this show, but there was a bit of miscommunication, so it didn't end up panning out. But maybe that's a fight we'll do in February, if not at some stage next year. And then the next one up was Corey Cowboy versus Hugh O'Donnell.
What a fight. I don't know what Hugh put in his leg, but I thought I was like, oh, is it? Because we were next fight, so I had to like, well, it's going to end. And I run back. It's still going, yeah. And then the rest happened. It was that was Corey's first time getting cut too, he said. And it was a couple of good cuts. So, just too hard to hit. Maybe Corey might have been a little bit too focused on that lead leg and didn't change it up as Hugh kept on changing everything else as well. So
yeah, I think if Corey had put in a little, like, I think Corey's got the hands and the elbows to do some real damage. Like a few times where he started throwing shots, you could see there were like damaging shots. He kind of bailed out of that, but also sort of being privy to some of the stuff that's like Corey's obviously having a kid and having his gym and a couple of other stuff, like my trainer Tom is his pad holder, just knowing a few things. It was that strategy. It was going to be hard for him to have a strong last couple of rounds, but all credit to Hugh. He just is a fucking survivor, which is the song I'll be using for him the next time he fights, since it's up to me to pick his songs, apparently.
He did, man. He did great. Like it's you can see the improvement in Hugh for sure. And because I helped Aram and Michael out in the corner, and I sort of sat there and I watched a few of those low kicks up close, and I just thought, oh shit, because Hugh was trying to trade low kicks, and the reality was that Hugh did not have the power to match Corey. And every time he got in those few exchanges, I just thought, man, stop, because Hugh's like, it was just, and Corey actually said afterwards, I was backstage standing next to Hugh and I helped him take some tape off or something. And Corey comes along and he's like, what do you have in your fucking leg? Like Corey just, I think, and that for a fighter as well, to think that you can smash someone, like you've been hitting something and then nothing happens. It's almost a bit deflating, isn't it? It's like you hit him with the best shot and nothing happens and you think, fuck.
But they weren't just hard. They were super accurate. They hit the same spot. Like they were all just off the knee, like bang, 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 bang. And I'm like,
wild.
Good on you, Hugh.
Wild. But that's what Hugh said afterwards. He said he wasn't feeling it in the leg. It was his knee. He said Corey was hitting like the bonier parts, and that's how he was able to get through it. He said because they kept hitting it, he had a sore knee the next day, but not so much the quad because they were coming in that little bit lower. And so he said that he felt it, but
would still hurt.
That's not a good spot to get above the knee. I'm like, congratulations, dude.
He didn't get the dead leg part.
The difference, right? Yeah, he could stay standing on it. And that was what, he said it was annoying and it hurt, but not the same if it would have been like flush on the quad and had that cork.
Yeah. And then Corey, after the fight, I think announced that was his last fight, which, like I messaged him, he messaged me the other day and I messaged him back and I said, look, man, as much as I like watching some of these guys fight, honestly, part of me when they go, yeah, I'm done with this and I retire, I'm kind of happy for them. It's like, they found something else to do that's more meaningful to him. And, he had his partner, Chloe, in the corner, and they've got their little boy, Fox and stuff. And he's got his gym. And I'm like, man, for Corey, he's satisfied with his fighting and now move on to other stuff. Fucking great. I don't want to see him get stuff in the face. He's my mate. And so shout out to Corey. He's given us some memorable stuff, and like hearing his song when he walked out, like I listened to that song usually before show week because I love Johnny Cash, but it's just like it gets me fired up. So big shout out to Corey and yeah.
And
Thanks
such
for
a
all the
good
advice.
dude, man.
He
Such
is.
a good guy. Corey's such a good guy, man.
And you know, he was there the next day at the Muay Thai Victoria event. He's got a couple of kids coming through. He's got one guy, Morgan, having his first fight. And I don't think he's been training that long. And this kid won. And I thought, you know, I asked Ton and he goes, oh, he's very, very fresh. And he was so composed and he won. And then he's got another young guy, he's 18, Ben Killian. I messaged him the other day. I judged his fight. I thought he won every round. I'm so impressed by this guy's composure and skill. If you watched it, I think it was his third amateur fight or something. Like if he makes the change to pro, like just beautiful style, lovely kicking in the clinch. He looked like he'd been clinching pros all his life. Just no problem. Balance, lovely.
Nice.
So yeah, I think they'll have a good little crew of guys coming out, and I'll make another one of them come out to Crazy Cowboy songs.
All right.
Let's get the next fight and go to the main event.
I gotta go. Man.
Is this thing on? So the next fight was Ibrahim Abu Saleh versus Jen Hong Dong Leg in the retirement fight, 3 rounds. Let's go.
So Jen is like actually Jen and Joe came out to train. They were trainers at our gym when they first came out. So man, great guys. Legend over there, done all the stuff he needed to do in his career and whatever. We were taking a big step up, and Ibby like really, you know, put in his hard yards to try and get there, and put in a lot of work to make it happen and do the right thing, and studied everything. And man, he had like a really good prep. And to have what happened to him, he was like he was absolutely gutted. So was I, to be quite honest. Like I've watched it. First round, I don't know how you could argue that we lost that. Second round, I still don't know how you could argue that we lost. No worries, any 14-10, it's all good. That we lost the round. Like it got to the point where I was like, I know he was moving around, like the game plan was that, but fuck, like I just cannot. And I don't know anyone other than those 2 judges who thinks that we lost that fight. Have you spoken to anyone who thinks we lost it? I haven't. I don't. And then to say that someone said that we lost the first round, he got dumped 3 times. Like it was fucking. And to know that the bet's going on that too.
I haven't spoken to anyone that said he lost the first round.
Sorry?
I haven't spoken to anyone who said he lost the first round.
I think all 3 judges, from what I was told, it was the second, did they?
It's the second.
Fuck, I don't even know that, man. I've watched it 3 times. I
think
it is what it is. So
I think with the scorecards and what gets communicated sometimes from the person that may do the communication, I take that bit with a grain of salt because they don't necessarily know how to read a score, like breakdown of the scorecards. I know on good authority that nobody scored that first round to Jen.
Okay.
But I know that, like, I spoke to one of the judges and he goes, no.
And then one of them said that, well, and anyway, I'm not going to say what anyone said, but it's fucked. I mean, shout out to Jen, and Jen's lovely. Like, he did a really good post, and it's true. Like he said, he's like 39, man. So he's fought 30 years of fighting, and he said in his post that he's had a lot of decisions go his way and a lot of decisions go the opposite way and whatever. And that was really a really awesome, like a proper champion post. Ibby's still got to learn to lose. He showed that, but in his defense as well, like when you beat your idol fair and square and then have that taken from you on the stage, which we love so much, like the Rebellion stage, I think it was just fucked. No other word for it. So anyway, we'll see how we go.
Yeah.
That's enough.
It was actually, and that's the thing with Jen, not that anyone's just another Thai trainer or pad holder, but Jen, I think most people in Victoria, I hope they know, most people around Australia, but He's a legend. After the fight, when I went to speak to him, he just turned around and he goes, "Do you see why I didn't want to fight 5 rounds? I can't fight 5 rounds because that was 3 rounds."
Yeah. He doesn't drink, doesn't smoke. Those two, he's a dime a dozen, man. And as an ex-fighter who carries himself the way he does, you know, happy to have him finish his career on your show, which is like an awesome thing to be able to say too. Just shit that it ended that way for us personally, but for them, you know, good on Jen, and I wish him all the best. He's got a partner now in Australia, so it looks like he's kind of got a good setup, and he's with a good gym down there too, man. So I wish him all the very best.
Yeah.
And then just to interject quickly, regardless of the result that Ibby would be disappointed by, to know that he could, even though it was Jen's last fight and he's 39, to know that he could put on that performance against someone like that, I'm sure will give him a lot of confidence in the future. Like, yeah,
he's
I
got
think
a lot
that's
to
worth
learn from that
mentioning.
fight too. We've spoken about there's a few things that he really shouldn't have done in that fight. But yeah, you're absolutely right, man. Thank you. Yeah.
Sorry, moving on.
And then the main event was Joanne versus Marina. Joanne's supporters were extremely loud where I was sitting. I, at one stage, started spraying them with water. Wow. Peter Sherwood, why does he send me this? I just got hit in the head by a can of Coke. Thank God it was soft drink.
Nah.
Anyway,
No.
thanks, Pete.
No, absolutely not. Fuck off, Pete.
This is the stuff you guys don't remember when you think I'm being harsh to him. This is why tubs get thrown.
Oh, shit. All right, Joanne, Marina.
Joanne
Oh, good
versus
to see
Marina.
Pete.
Marina just kept walking forward. You guys watched the fight?
I was too busy calming Ibby out the front.
Yeah, I helped Michael and Aram in the corner. Didn't really do much. I just got a good seat. And yeah, I had Joanne win every round. It was just, yeah, she kept coming forward, but she didn't, there wasn't really much substance or much. People who have fought Marina knows or have seen her fight before. She's a really strong clincher. And Aram had said to me that Boy said to him afterwards, they knew that. And so one of the things that they had with Marina was don't clinch, like don't let her get into the clinch. And because Joanne, as you saw, it was quicker and stronger than Marina, and probably the place that it could have changed would have been in the clinch, because Marina does have that relentless, almost like Lloyd Dean-ness to her, right?
Yeah.
Just kind of gets in and goes and goes and goes. But she didn't get the opportunity to do that. And so Joanne, I think, played a really good game. Like, she has some nice long punches. I got a bit sick of the Superman punches. Sorry, but fucking that started to give me the shits. So, and the spinning back fists, like the Superman punches were frustrating because they were in times when it could have just been a normal right hand. I know they've done it before, but man, I just kind of, after the seventh one, I was just like,
she gets a lot of power out of it. And she's one of the few people I ever see do. I'm not a fan of Superman punches and stuff. Like, I used to lose my shit if our guys ever did it. But Joanne's, I reckon, done it since her second fight. And she's one of the few people I see who does it and doesn't fall out of position when they do it. And like,
it just wasn't making a difference. This is the thing. Like, regardless of if she can,
hardest shot she's going to throw for her was that.
Yeah,
If
regardless.
she sat down on it, it would fucking.
Yeah, if she sat on the punch and threw the punch, theoretically, would it not be?
Yeah, I think it's maybe based on what we talked about, where she was trying not to stay close with Marina to get tied up. Maybe she was creating space, exploding in, like shocking her, and then kind of trying to get out. That's the only thing I can say.
Look, and maybe you could be absolutely right, but and as well, like, that's not to take away from her performance, because she won every round. She did awesome. Like, she did really well. Like, her crowd and supporters were really cool with her as well. Like, she did awesome. I thought it was
crazy.
The signs were sick.
Yeah,
I
the
love
signs were
signs.
sick.
Big fan of signs. Anyone coming to shows, bring him there.
Yeah, the signs are really cool. And she did really well.
Anyone going to Siam to Sydney this week who wants to earn a couple of extra bucks. DM me. I've got a sign for you to make and send me your bank details.
Funnily enough, one of our boys here, Daniel Look, always makes signs, and he always does one of me too. So big shout to my boy.
Nice.
Anyway, that was done. I just want to quickly mention Muay Thai Victoria on the Sunday. Great event. Shout out to Jason, Dom, and Spring. I normally am a lot more hands-on with that show, but I did sort of step back because obviously I had Roots and Rebellion. They did an amazing job. I think we had 19 bouts. Really good dates. Come out. The Muay Thai Victoria events have come out exactly as we hoped. It's a low-stress show. Like, we held it at a basketball courts, $30 entry. The fights were great. I think the overall goal for me was to have that format of Muay Thai Victoria, Roots and Rebellion. It was a really, really nice weekend when we saw that full, I guess, that pathway we talk about. But yeah, just wanted to say thanks to those guys for all the work they did. We're going to have it back on January 30th, and then hopefully going to be a monthly event. Like I said, we're running it as a non-for-profit. None of us are taking money from it. All the money is going back into the account, and then hoping that by the end of next year, we've got a big pile of money sitting in the Muay Thai Victoria account that we can spend on doing some development stuff further for Muay Thai. And it was good, so good to see so many gyms and stuff involved. And can't wait to see some of those guys fight pro next year.
Love it.
Nice one.
Love it. Good work, man.
And nothing coming up this weekend, so I'll see you guys next week. All right, Andrew.
See you, mate. See you in Newcastle.
I am going to Newcastle tomorrow for
Go see Rod.
Sorry?
Go see Rod.
I just checked it. It's like 25 minutes away from where we're staying. And you know how good I am at traveling.
Yeah, I forgot. Well, enjoy the first time out of Melbourne in like 5 years for you. So good job, buddy.
4 years, 3 years. Wow.
Oh, okay. I was joking, but
No, 3 years. We've been in lockdown for 2 years of it.
Yeah,
and
true.
then before that, I don't know if it was Perth or Queensland. I think it was Queensland.
Also, quick shout out to the people that actually came up to, I know Andrew had a few people. I had some people come up to me, say that they enjoyed listening to this podcast.
Oh, yeah.
Man, shout out. That makes us, that's to know that we're not just yelling at the airing grievances with one another.
Hey.
On our normal messenger chat. Like, that was really cool.
But Bundy said to me, and again, Bundy, nice to chat to you and meet you face to face, man.
Bundy, yeah.
I put that on and I feel like I'm just sitting in a lounge room having a chat about the fights with the boys. So that's perfect.
Love that. Love that.
Amazing. You need a better group of friends, Bundy, if this is what it feels like.
I'm out. Okay.
I don't understand me, but
I gotta go. I got shit
All
to
right,
do.
see you, mate.
Bye.
we'll talk about your show.
Later.
Well, we're going to talk about it now.
Sign.
Oh, okay. I got to call the cops back soon. But yeah, we spoke about it last week, man. But it's going to be a big day. Hopefully, those cops aren't calling me to tell me that I got to change a venue or something. But this Sunday,
top three fights.
Top three fights. Obviously, Yolanda and Diandra. I've been corrected on that multiple times. And Kim and Cruz is going to be sick. They're my two like outstanding fights.
Got to be Dan and Reese, man.
Reese and Dan and Reese.
Every fight that Reese is in is a banger, and that's man, every fight that Reese is in, you know, there's going to be a banger.
So if anyone's tuning in on the stream, just jump on from 5 p.m. if you want to see the pros. The amateurs will be on from 3. We've got kids sparring event in the morning, development day throughout the day. I think all up there's going to be over 50 fights. It's a massive day. I didn't expect so much support, which is really awesome to see, especially out of the lockdown. So I think we're about 10 or 20 tickets off sell out now. So let's hope everything goes according to plan and we can have a mad Sunday and finish up before sunset and kick on.
Beautiful.
What weight is Yolanda versus Diandra?
57. So a bit of weight for experience on that one, but it's going to be a cracker, man. It's good.
And the live stream is at siamtosydney.com.au.
youtube.com/live.
Live. Awesome. Well,
Yeah.
Tune in.
I'm making no promises. My wife said I should try to go from Newcastle to Sydney. More than likely I won't, but you never know.
If you come, that's fantastic, and I'll welcome you with open arms. But as we all know from promises made to other states, yeah.
It's just, I don't know. Melbourne's the best place in the world. Why would I want to leave? I'm only going to Newcastle because I had such a wonderful experience with Rod.
Right, that's why you're going. Okay, yeah.
Okay. I got to shoot and call these coppers.
See you, Andrew.
Thanks, guys.
She
Oh,
told you she was 18.
next week we'll have more time. We can chill next week and talk for like 2 hours.
Love it.
Lovely.
Bye.
Bye, Andrew. You can go now.
See you, mate.
I'm out. Fuck kids.
We're just waiting for you to leave.
God. You're terrible.
We're in the back end of the podcast
He
where
thought he
people.
thought he lost every round. I don't know why he showcases showboats like this. But seriously,
Anything left, Si?
yeah, look, having spent a day with him, big shout out to everyone in New South Wales who has to see that man on a regular basis. It's very hard work. It was lovely to see the wonderful Mr. Lewis Regis. It was actually really nice to see you, Kieran.
See you. So I think lunch.
I genuinely think, because I joke around, he thinks I'm joking. I genuinely don't know what that man is saying to me 95% of the time. Thank you. Anyway, how's Deina looking for the weekend?
Great. Ready, man. Ready. This is obviously a fight that was cancelled once already because of COVID, because of the lockdown. In the fight week, mind you, that was last time it was cancelled in fight week. One of two fights she's had cancelled. She obviously had the fight against Brittany Dolgai cancelled on the day in Queensland because of their shutdown. And then she had the fight against Yolanda cancelled the week of in the lead up. So it's been a long time coming. She's had a few quote unquote camps. I don't really like using that word, but she's had a few fight camps and a few weight cuts and everything for it and just prep. So good for her to get in it. I mean, she's been out of the, I mean, a lot of people know Deina is quite whatever, but she's hasn't had a fight in 2 years. It's been a long time.
February last year was her last fight, yeah?
Yeah, man, it's been a long time between drinks. So I'm really excited for her to finally get back in there. And to be only a week after her sister put on such a good performance as well. That's quite special in and of itself.
Yeah. Well, good luck with the fights. Matt, Lucas, and I have a bet on that fight. I didn't select the bet or who I was taking, but I'll either have some more money after this or less money.
All right, Matty, shout out. Shout out, Matt Lucas.
Yeah.
Hey, Matt.
Yeah. Obviously, Yolanda's, we're all a big fan of Yolanda, big fan of Deina, so it'll be a sick fight. Cruz and Kim will be exciting. I'm interested to see Kim fighting in Australia for the first time. So we'll all be tuning in with the live stream. I probably won't be because it's the first time I'm going to actually have some time away with my family for ages, but I'll pretend I did. All right, guys, thanks very much for joining us. Next week, we've got a couple of topics to go through. Pinky did an excellent rant that's on YouTube at the moment about people complaining about judges with affiliations to certain gyms, which is a funny old one. We'll have a chat. Fucking love that rant because Pinky's spot on with it. But otherwise, guys, thank you everyone for joining, and thanks, bro.
Bye.
Chat soon.